Hello, welcome back. We're on to the letter P. P is for plan and planning. So we're beyond halfway now and hope everything is working well for you. So here's a phrase that you may have heard hundreds of times. It's actually one of my favorite phrases, even though it's a bit corny. Here we go. Fail to plan equals plan to fail. Think about that. Hopefully it makes perfect sense to you. Generally, if we want to achieve success, we have to plan towards success. If we don't plan, we don't achieve success. Potentially, we achieve failure. So the phrase is really clear. It's just saying, if you don't plan, just prepare for failure. That's what you're going to get. A bit harsh, maybe. So that sounds really obvious, actually. Yet most people, myself included sometimes, don't plan. We sometimes think, let's just go for it and just wing it. So it can be in our nature to just do something without thinking too much about it. And I think that's a good approach. If you overplan, if you overanalyze, you end up in this analysis paralysis situation. And you might produce great documentation and a superb design, but you don't actually get anything done. So not planning generally doesn't matter for small tasks because the probability of things going wrong are probably low, because you've got a chance to think about what's going on as you're doing things. And also for low impact tasks, it possibly doesn't matter if you don't plan, because the consequences of things not quite working are minor. They won't affect anybody or bother anybody. In fact, that spontaneity, where we don't plan, is often the best approach to avoid procrastination. So quick lesson at the beginning is don't overplan, plan accordingly. So there you go. Okay. However, the point of this lesson is for the more complicated tasks, the bigger tasks, the things that really are going to make an impact, that will make you stand out from the competition, the things that really you want to do to have a sense of purpose and create something wonderful in this world. So a complex task with a deadline or dependencies, you must plan for that. It would be a huge mistake if you fail to plan for that, because the risk of failure could be quite high. The consequence of failure could be very high. Could be environmental problems, social problems, health problems, etc., etc. So planning really is important. So let's just step back a moment and think about, what do we mean by success? So what is the definition of success? In really simple terms, is knowing that you've accomplished something based upon a set of criteria or targets. So that is one definition. There are multiple definitions of success, of course, which is the definition I'm going to use for the purpose of this lesson. So if you think about that, success being the fact that you know you've accomplished something, then essentially the endpoints of your plan for this definition of success are your targets or your goals. So if you don't know what your targets are, then you won't know whether you've got there. If you don't know what your destination is, how will you know when you've got there? So that's what planning is about. The path towards your targets is contained within your plan. So you know you're going to start at point A, go to point B, point C, and point D. That path formulates a plan. So that's important. You need to know that you've reached a milestone B, milestone C, and endpoint D. That's very, very important. So if you don't have a plan, then you won't know how to reach each of these different milestones and targets. And in all probability, you won't reach them. You might reach the first one, but the probability of then reaching the second one diminishes because you're not following the correct path. And therefore, you won't be able to say that you've actually succeeded. And that's the problem, because to say you haven't succeeded well down the line when you've used up time and resources may be an unforgiving situation. If you're doing this for somebody else, it's their money, their resources, they're going to be very unhappy. And even if it's not for somebody else, but for yourself, you used up time, you used up other resources, maybe potentially resources you can't get back. So I think it's really, really important. So in summary, it's a very short lesson here, because planning is a detailed task, takes a lot of skills, and has to be done properly. But really, I just want to emphasize to you, plan. If you don't plan, you're on the road to failure. Do plan. And most importantly, once you have planned, look at your plan and follow the damn thing. Don't just have a plan to be sitting on a shelf. If you're in the corporate workplace, I've seen it a million times. someone produces a great plan, managers sign it off, a board or a committee approves it, happy days, yet the week after, the plan is totally ignored. People just go freestyle, and then months down the line, millions of pounds and dollars have been spent, and nothing's actually happened. So yeah, planning is really, really important. I'd encourage you to think about it. For your bigger projects, focus and plan.